basically the two most concentrated sources of nitrates are greens and beetroot. And so number one is arugula, but it's also been studied beet juice, baked beets, just actually whole beets like you can get in a can, as well as they've tried frozen spinach as well, but basically any greens. And I have videos on proper timing. I believe it was 3 hours before a race or before an event, in terms of peak performance. And what nitrates do is they not only dilate blood vessels, so improving blood flow throughout the body, but they actually improve oxygen efficiency, meaning you get more muscle power for every breath. Fennel seeds. Mm-hmm. So actually, and in terms of inflammation, in terms of the reason that people who eat healthier are able to get back to training sooner is because of the improved recovery, which we think is the anti-inflammatory activity of the antioxidants. So if you look at the foods that have been most beneficial in terms of improving recovery times and delayed onset muscle soreness, so basically like, you do a workout and then the next day you're sore, that's what we're calling this delayed onset muscle soreness. And that can prevent people from getting right back and working on the same kind of muscle groups. And found most effective for those would be berry consumption. Sure. And a variety of spices. In terms of the kind of the third thing athletes may be interested in is then certainly for like marathon runners or kind of ultra endurance sports, you see a increase in susceptibility to upper respiratory tract infections. So, for example, in the weeks after a marathon, people are more susceptible. They've just kind of stressed their body that they're more susceptible to infection. And so there's a number of things you can do in terms of boosting one's immunity. That was another thing that the blueberries actually helped with. Beta-glucan, which is a type of fiber found in brewers, bakers, and nutritional yeast. Also effective in reducing respiratory tract infections after a race. And again, what that does is it just gets you back training faster in terms of, people that do this kind of thing for a living.
Understood. Are you familiar with any aronia studies on endothelial health?
I don't think there have been any. I know it rates really high. It has these anthocyanins. It's one of these dark blue, black, purple pigmented berries. And what's so nice about those particular antioxidants is that they cross the blood-brain barrier, get up into the brain, can have beneficial cognitive effects. In fact, I was just doing a video, forget what it was on, and it showed improved reaction time. It must have been one of my berry videos. I forget which kind of berry they tested, but it showed kind of now the improvement in reaction time was just like hundreds of milliseconds, but it's those kind of things. If you're like, a football player or something, sure, being able to make quicker, but it was limited to the antioxidants that are able to get up into the brain. Oh no, it was probably a lutein. I bet it was one of the lutein. So lutein, that would be greens. These eyesight protecting greens in plant pigments that actually make it up, and it's sucked up into the central nervous system and concentrated in the brain. I bet it was one of my greens videos. I
will probably share with you some information on aronia and the clinical studies that were actually done on endothelial health function.
Oh, so in the peer-reviewed medical literature? Mm-hmm. Huh. I'd love to see them.
Yeah, absolutely, because you know what, aronia is my berry that I truly believe, and I want to do a clinical study with my product on athletes' performance and especially inflammatory markers. So you know what, like I said, I will definitely share this with you. My question, mentioning right now inflammatory markers, what vegetables and fruits have shown any effect?
Oh, in terms of C-reactive protein stuff?
Yes.
So it would be berries, greens, and spices.
So tell me, because we know that a low carb diet affects negatively on cardiovascular health. We know that the low salt diet helps endothelial health. We know potassium exactly soften vascular endothelial health, as you even address in one of your videos. What else would you say we could cover in this video to educate our listeners about that subject?
Oh, so yeah, endothelial function is about it's kind of twofold. One is preventing injury, which is sodium, saturated fat, and trans fats. And the other would be promoting, nitric oxide release. And so that would be nitric containing vegetables, and it would also be, antioxidant-rich foods. And what are antioxidant-rich foods? Basically, highly pigmented berries, fruits in general, and then certainly greens, pigmented vegetables like sweet potatoes, carrots, that kind of thing.
So if I had to ask you really, if I had only one question, my question would be, what have you learned over the last year, doctor, that surprised you when it comes to those subjects that we're discussing on this video?
So I'm trying to think of the new athletic performance. I think the only ones I've done recently are lutein studies. So lutein and zeaxanthin are these two plant pigments. They're called macular pigments. They concentrate in the kind of the focal point of the eye, kind of your HD camera of your eye. There's a little spot. It's actually yellow when you look at it as a doctor. You look in someone's eye, you can see that yellow spot, and that is actually lutein. It's a yellow pigment found in dark green leafy vegetables. And it's a fat-soluble antioxidant, so that's why we always need to have a whole food source of fat with our greens. So eating a salad with a fat-free dressing, and we're not going to absorb those nutrients. What we need to do is have some nuts or seeds on top. Sprinkle some walnuts or pumpkin seeds, or make a nut-based dressing, or add some avocado. So you need to have a source of fat with your greens, whether cooked or raw, to absorb it. Otherwise, why eat the salad at all? You'll get some fiber and stuff, but you're missing out on some of the most potent protective nutrients.